Hi folks, my name is Drew Lloyd and I participated in the jazz and music history sections of the study abroad in Europe this summer. This was not my first study abroad, and so I sort of knew what to expect, but at the same time I've never spent this much consecutive time in a foreign country before, so I had a much more immersive experience this time around. The longevity of the study program and my personal vacation and tour afterward has really made a big impression on me, and it's given me a much better idea of what life in general is like in Europe. So I participated in the 2 weeks of the study in Germany and Paris, and then continued to spend more time in France on my own, and have moved on to touring through Italy at this point. I think that the experience of studying jazz history and music history has really helped me to better understand the development of culture in general, whether it's in Europe or back at home, just anywhere in the world. Ultimately, I think it's made me more confident in the pursuit of musicology and ethnomusicology as a career path for me. Understanding different traditions, values, and world perspectives makes me a more well-rounded person, and it's even changed some of my opinions about the way that we interact with each other in American society. If anything, getting to see the relative liberal nature of Germany and France in contrast with the conservative nature of Italy, which I'm doing outside the study, it's deepened my understanding of the right versus left struggle that we experience in the United States. And I think it's softened my view of both sides in some ways. I've also developed a new appreciation for classical music in general after experiencing the scale of appreciation for historical music figures and performance traditions that Europeans generally have. They also immortalize these figures in visual art, and they tend to give a lot of attention to the prestige of art in all forms pretty equally, whether it be sculpture, painting, music, poetry, it really doesn't matter. Europeans obviously herald the musical art form that developed here. It's one of their proudest achievements. And the reverence of tradition is apparent through the amount of attention and effort that they put into the preservation of concert halls, musical museums, sculptures and paintings that immortalize musical heroes, and ultimately public funding of the arts as well. That public funding really allows musicians to continue the practice and performance of traditional music without having to go broke in order to do it. Keeping tradition alive is obviously of great importance in European culture as a whole. I believe even more so than in the United States. I think that maybe a more broad-scale national push to preserve American arts would be enriching to life in general. But with the current state of divisiveness, I'm not really sure how it would be achieved. It occurs to me that in order to feel the need to preserve something, our home nation would have to lose something on a really, really big scale, perhaps through war or economic collapse. But I'm not sure that the push to preserve it would be strong enough unless people had really experienced a loss, as is something that has happened here in Europe time and time again. In addition, I've gained a new level of respect for free jazz through this study abroad. Had some experience with it before, but it's never really kept my attention, I would say. But getting to watch the Medium Ensemble perform at Sunside Sunset in Paris was a really enjoyable and eye-opening experience for me. This was the first time I really felt like I got to experience free jazz in a way that connected both to the performers as well as me as a listener, and I was really floored by the experience. In my opinion, I think it was probably the highlight of the live music experience for me during the program. The best part of studying music history here was getting to see the level of respect that Europeans hold for musical art forms, whether they originated here or somewhere else. People still care about live music, composition, and visual art here on a scale that's just not matched in the United States. That's not to say that Americans are uncultured, but to witness the difference abroad is remarkable and really puts some things into perspective. I think that learning about the history of music in general makes listening to all forms of music a lot more enjoyable, and the immersive experience of study abroad really enhances that in a very big way for me. Advice that I would offer to someone interested in the program would be to make your experience as varied as possible while on your study abroad. If you're only taking one of the 2 classes, then be sure to spend time participating in some of the activities that the other classes plan to do. The broad experience can only make you a more well-rounded and better educated person. And you never know, you may discover a new appreciation and interest in things that you had previously avoided or written off in your life. I would also say to be sure to spend time getting to know other people on the program that you didn't know before. It's a great opportunity to make new friends, maybe some eventual colleagues, and you may be surprised at how much they have to offer you regardless of their age, major, or career path. I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with some students that I simply would have missed out on if I had not participated in the program, and I've met some really intelligent, insightful, and obviously very talented people that I may not have had the chance to bond with without the experience here. Above all else, I would say to be as inclusive as possible with everyone here. The rewards are certainly worth the effort. You have your whole life to box yourself in back at home, so don't miss out on the opportunity to branch out while you have it. I think that the most important thing that I learned on this trip is that world travel coupled with education is the best way to grow as a person. I've heard plenty of people talk about why they don't want to gain knowledge about subjects because they're afraid that it will change them in some way that they perceive to be negative. Like, for example, in my career, I've met a lot of musicians that were adamant that they didn't want to learn anything about music theory because they thought it would ruin the way they played or change them on some fundamental level. But the truth is, I've never met a person that educated themselves that claims to have regretted it. And I think that's true about musicians as well in terms of learning things about music theory. I've never heard anybody tell me they wish they didn't know about it. I would just say that you should experience as much as possible in your life. Travel, eat foreign food, meet new people, and find out more about them. Study foreign culture as well as the history of the culture of your homeland. Because being open to new experiences really helps you be a better person and can only improve your quality of life. It may even serve to help unlock your creative process or have a big influence on the possibilities of your future career. Ultimately, this study abroad has been just a really, really amazing experience. It's certainly one that I'm never going to forget. And I have to express my appreciation to my professors and classmates for making this experience just absolutely awesome. It's been informative, enriching, fun, and definitely unforgettable. I got to say thank you to Dr. Eanes and Trey for putting in the extra effort to make this study abroad such a wonderful and enjoyable learning experience for everyone. I know a lot of, on my other study abroads, that perhaps the things that I did were not as immersive and not as well planned out. And I've noticed the difference, and I really appreciate it. This is my last class at KSU. It's been a really wonderful experience, and I'm glad that this is the last thing that I get to do. And I really am going to go home looking forward to the next chapter of my life and the pursuit of my career going forward. So best of luck to everybody in the future, and I hope you got as much out of this experience as I did. Until the next time, ciao.